What is up, Earth? My name is Sam the Dingus, here doing the intro for the fourth time. Fourth time is usually the charm. It's been very, very rainy lately, so I'm just trying to find something to do, honestly, while I chill out. Just got back from camping, so things are feeling good, and I just wanted to make sure I say hello to you guys as well, because I love you very much. So this is also the first video I'm recording in this car, and it's hard for me to get used to because the acoustics feel different with my voice, and I keep touching my head on this thing up here, so excuse me being a bit of a mess right now, but hey, welcome to the new whip. This is where the videos are going to be from now on, so we're going to get used to it. Learn to love it together. So what's to say about marijuana? I'd say it's like in my top 10 favorite things out there, along with sunlight and backflips. And there's definitely ways that you can overdo it and make it a bad thing for you, but ultimately I think humans have a big appreciation for what it is and what it does, because we all tend to need something to help us get over to the next day, or even just to celebrate a rainy afternoon or a quiet night. Weed is a great thing, though I do recommend you follow the law and practice responsibly, of course. Anyway, I've got a list here of just some great weed stories from my life. Some of these are actually really crazy, and some of these are just like flashes of moments and sensations I feel. Because weed is something that has been around for, I don't know, like 8 years now in my life, and it is honestly a huge part of my life, so I gotta tell you some of my favorite stories involving weed. The first one is actually pretty magical, and it's the main reason why I wanted to make this video, because I saw a bumblebee yesterday and it reminded me of this story. So here goes the greatest story ever. I'm out in the woods with my brother and a mutual friend we have, Hunter T, not Keckmaster. I doubt you're watching this video, but hey guys. So we're out in the Canterbury house, just smoking at the normal spot, which is out in the woods on a log. And I see this bumblebee here on a leaf. And now, maybe I'm being irresponsible here, but like, people love to get animals in on the fun, and that's exactly what I did here. I don't know, I feel like some people try to smoke their dog up, and I've heard that that's actually bad for them, but when it comes to like insects and stuff, I let them have it. So that's exactly what I did. I blew a fat bong rip right on this bumblebee who was sitting on a leaf, and nothing really happened. Eventually he went away. We're all just sitting down, and this is where the crazy shit happens, all right? This bumblebee comes back and lands, like, just doesn't fly around, just lands straight on my torso. Okay, now that's crazy to me, because for me, bumblebees literally never interact with me. I never, like, chase them away. They never, like, are bothered by me. We just don't talk, we don't touch. We're chilling, me and bumblebees. But it just went out of its way to land on me. You could say maybe I confused it by poisoning its mind with drugs. Or maybe that bumblebee used to be a stoner before it got reincarnated, and it's really, really hard to get stoned as a bumblebee, and so I think I was just giving him a hand, and he was thanking me for it. I mean, that's the only explanation, right? Like, has a bumblebee ever landed on any of you? Just let me know, because otherwise I'm saying hallelujah for this one. Also, already in my Stories of Life playlist, I have the story of me telling about my first time smoking, so definitely check that one out. It's a bit wild. Second story is of another like weed legacy tribute edition. One of those like legendary times, because even like weed is a beautiful thing that's like a part of my everyday life, but like it's not every time that something special happens, you know? Like it's not always like a magical weed day, you know? Sometimes it's just smoking, but there are some special adventures that go down sometimes, and this is one of them. This is way back in the day. It was me, my brother, and Lumpy. That's my boy. If you don't know, check out Pseudo Summer, my channel trailer. Great video. It was all of us just having a night of smoking, all right? And now back then, we didn't know what kind of stuff we were smoking, like what strains or whatnot, but I guess we like to pretend or something. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that, like we're gonna be convinced, but for us in our minds and our hearts, this night we were smoking Skywalker OG. And if I ever find this strain, I'm gonna smoke it just for the tribute. That's what we thought this weed was, or at least it's what we were calling the weed that we were smoking all night. Like just crazy indica, like mega bodies, and like we're just like laying in a dark room, like sitting halfway in the closet, like sprawled out on the floor, like some music, and it's just the three of us talking. That was an awesome time, okay? But now I gotta hit you with a time trip, okay? Because we go into my brother's top drawer, me and Lumpy. And inside of a sock, not only do we find like a dry pipe, but we find like a glass container, a stash of weed that none of us knew about. And when we pulled it out, we were like, what the fuck? Because we all knew exactly what it was. This is where I have to give you a time travel. Months prior, my brother was driving, and I don't know if he was looking away from the road or like he just was like, I don't know, being reckless. He used to be a pretty reckless driver, I will say. But this one time he just like rolled his car off the road down a hill, like straight up into a field of cows, like down like a 10 to 15 foot hill of grass. And a cop happened to be right there as this happened. I don't know the exact sequence of events, but we had all assumed, and my brother had assumed, that the cop had taken his weed and pipe. At this point, it was still illegal, by the by. We assumed that the cop took his stuff and didn't say anything, instead of, you know, getting this kid in trouble for possession of drugs. That's what we thought happened, okay? But months later, on this legendary Skywalker OG night, we just happened to unearth this stash of sour diesel. And this one we did know for sure it was sour diesel. And we were like, okay, now we gotta smoke it because we found it. But actually, we were like so high already that like adding this like pure sativa strain on top of what we already had, like we all smoked it and then we were like, I don't know, man, I just don't feel good anymore. This is like kind of nauseous, like. So yeah, Sour D kind of crashed the party for Skywalker OG, but that was like one of the most legendary nights of smoking that I can remember, so I had to throw it out there. Now, like I said, weed can be a great thing for people. It can be healing, it can be therapeutic, it can be recreational. But it can also do some bad things to your mind, and this I will not deny. Now, admittedly, weed doesn't like do anything extra necessarily, but it enhances the psychoactivity of your brain itself. And so the things you already think and feel and say are amplified even more. And you can't really fight against your own mind in this kind of state. You kind of have to like see what you are. And that's a very good thing, but if you're not doing so hot, it might feel like a bad thing, even though it's actually a good thing. So I was actually in the heat of my depression at this point. There was like a depression phase of my life, so I'll get to that story someday. I've been avoiding it, but if you know me, then you do know about that point anyway. So in this period of darkness and sadness, I took my first ever bong rip under a bridge, right at the famous Manship Park, my favorite smoke spot. Under a bridge, a walk from my house, this is where I took my first ever bong rip. And that got me so damn high, I was like too scared to walk home. We had to get my brother to give me a ride because I thought I was just gonna like disappear and walk into a car or something. I was way too high. And then when I came home, that's when it started to get like actually a bad trip for me, because I was just on my Instagram watching like all my parkour videos, and I was just like, this is stupid. This is all so fucking stupid. I can't believe it. Like, I based my whole life around this. And then I was just, I don't know, like, just something in me like changed that day, or like I saw it differently, and I just decided like I was disgusted with it, and like I actually like quit parkour officially for one period of my life. And if you like don't know me, then like this is just sounds like weird story time telling for you, but if you like actually know me and you watch my channel, like parkour is like pretty much my every breath. But that bong rip, it pushed me over the edge, and I was still struggling with a lot of things on my inside, with my heart, honestly. And I wasn't able to see myself. I wasn't able to appreciate what I was at that point, and so I just became filled with hatred. Luckily, I didn't delete anything, because if I had deleted my Instagram, I'd probably cry nowadays, now that I've forgiven myself and all that. And hey, that's also what I wanted to take a moment and say here, is that weed is like the goofy thing, like, oh, we're high. Dude, do you think on the moon, like, that you can, like, float away if you jump hard enough? Like, yeah, weed is all of those things, but weed is also, like, helps you get in touch with your feelings and your thoughts, like I was saying. And there is a lot of periods during that really bad phase of my life where weed was showing me the light that I needed to see. It was giving me an outside perspective on myself. And most of the time in your life is spent building up a character, you know, creating an ego. But it takes some certain experiences to break that down, and you can finally, like, look as a true observer, not from your own eyes, but from the outside. And so I must recommend weed to anyone who believes themselves a free thinker. I'm not saying that you should keep up with it religiously or anything, but you should at least see the other side. Even if it just makes you confused and scared and you want to watch funny videos, like, surely the truth of your life will peek through those moments, and you can make some kind of growth through this understanding or confusion. That actually is the perfect transition to take me to this story. I have a couple of other things written down, but this is like the mainest story of them all. And where do I start with this? Weed happens in phases. Like, when you don't smoke weed yet, or like you smoke it once or twice, you like think it's cool, like, yeah, I'm smoking weed, yeah. But I don't know, like, sometimes, like, you're just trying to be cool, I guess, but like, sometimes you don't really know what you're getting into, and a lot of times when you're beginning out on weed, just getting started, it definitely makes you tweak and geek. And I don't know how to explain this properly if you don't understand already. Like, weed is not a psychedelic where it makes you, like, see colors extra or anything like that, but it does, like, change the way the input is read. And so for me, like, I actually do have very psychoactive weed experiences, and that is kind of what leads me to this story. Is in my early days of smoking, especially because I was still in this sadness bit that I've been talking about, weed gave me connection to other entities. I know, just hold on a second, okay? Just hold on a second. It was like, one time weed helped me, like, it took me on a trip with it, okay? And I was like, even if you just consider it my imagination, it took me to this place and I was fully immersed in this thought and feeling. I was looking at my life from the moon. It was like I was the person who's talking now was actually like an alien who was looking at and explaining what it sees while looking at me and my past actions and the life choices I've made, if that makes sense. I mean, it was me looking at myself, but not as myself. And I was just like, why is this creature separating itself? Why does it feel the need to be isolated? And what kind of, like, fear and, like, pain does it carry with it? Ultimately, I can see for the first time that I'm choosing to be this person that is not good, to be this broken thing and wear it with pride and claiming that it's my true self. Weed gave me that perspective, and so I can never really give marijuana the thumbs down, because that was a really unique sight that I had this one particular time, just to see myself as someone else. But that's actually not the story that I'm getting at here, because there's more to it, alright? Still working through the pains of my life at this point, like I said. And this one time I smoked, and I communicated with other entities, like I said before. This story develops, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, so here we go. When I was smoking, I could just hear this voice talking. But it wasn't just talking, okay? It was like a feminine-ish voice, but it sounded more like digital, almost. Not like filtered, but like from the source of something electronic. And this voice would just explain its name. All it would do is say its name over and over and over again. It would say this one name, but the name sounded more like music, like a song, like, gosh, should I even attempt to do this right now? It was like multi-layered sound that could not be really imitated with just one voice. And it would just repeat its name over and over again, because not only is it its name, but its name is also its language. For its language, it just says its name over and over again, and the meaning still continues to like further itself as it repeats itself. And I would hear from these entities a fair amount, mostly just like this one day I was there with them a lot. So much that I could remember their name and everything. And I remember telling my friends about all this, like, dude, like, I swear to God, this stuff helped me see aliens. Like, there were some moments when I thought that it was, like, hostile, like, not friendly, because it would be, like, kind of forceful in the way it was talking to me. But maybe I was just not understanding at the time, and ultimately that's what it was. So I probably had, like, I don't know, 2 to 5 instances where I was able to not even communicate with this thing, but I would be able to listen to it. It wasn't always there, but sometimes when I would ask for it, it would show up. And it's not something I could ever see. It's only something I could hear. And here's where it gets like really interesting. Because then a different night, I remember I was at my house smoking this time at night. I heard a second entity, a different voice. And this one had a picture with it too. It's like an Aztec or like Mayan like statue. Like it looks like wooden, brown carved statue. Like handheld statue, maybe this tall. And it's got like a kind of a really jutted face and like a kind of a crown. Not jeweled or anything, but like stone or metal. And it had a big bow tie looking mouth that was way open with like teeth. Not sharp teeth, just regular teeth like that. Like so much so that its like eyes were closed because its mouth was so open. And I think its hands are like somewhere up like this. Like, so yeah, weed is some real shit if you haven't figured it out. Anyway, this alien also spoke to me. And it had a different name, which I also remember, but I am not going to try to recite. Sorry, y'all. If you give me 100,000 views on this video, I will attempt to recreate those aliens. But it would say its name over a different, very like rattly, like snake-like, and a deep masculine. Not like heavy, but like... There you go. I just kind of did it for you, but there's more letters and stuff. Anyway, after like communicating with these aliens enough times, and I was like having the discussion with them both, like asking them why they were there, that's when they revealed themselves. The aliens were not actually aliens. They were the feelings, they were the heart of my parents. It was my parents who were sending their hearts across space. And I had felt it. I had picked it up, but I didn't know where it was coming from. And at that moment, I just had this realization that, like, I was loved and welcome. And it gave me a lot of peace after that. Not that I ever doubted my parents or anything, but I don't know, to have, like, a soul connection outside of the language of words and the structures we're used to, you know? It was like their truth reached out to my truth, and we found each other for the first time. So to me, that was kind of the most magical of my weed experiences, honestly. Because there was a time when I really needed weed, and it showed me everything I needed to see. And you might say that, you know, maybe you should do therapy instead of smoking weed. But I think everybody learns differently. And weed, and even psychedelics themselves, were the greatest teacher I ever had. Of course, aside from the friends and pain I had along the way. But I gotta say, when it comes to self-growth, don't sleep on weed. I know it can be something that just is a crutch and something that's used frequently for fun, but don't forget that it is so helpful. Just make sure it's there when you need it and not all smoked away because you got bored. That being said, with that, I'm going to share some quick flashes into the funny stories that I wrote down here. There was this one summer where my brother had a metal dab pen. Like, he would load it with weed wax, and then you would heat it up and smoke it. But this one time before school, I walked into the shower, and I found the fucking pen there, and I was like, I gotta do it just this once. And now, like, at this time, I was so not able to control and handle weed at all. No poker face. Like, I'd be like, if you, like, ask me questions when I'm high. And But I did smoke before school, like just this once, and maybe I only did 2 times ever, really. And I was just so high there, it was a great time. Like my boy Connor was talking to me in the morning, and he was just like doing like weird hand shapes and like gestures and stuff, and like I don't know, it's so hard to explain, but like it looks like he was like tracing the actual shapes, and like arrows were following behind him, drawing out the motion. And I was just like, the shapes, stop with the shapes. That's why I miss like old weed times, because when it really tweaks you out is when you do the dumbest shit. But also I was taking a math test that day, first period, so I was still super high when this math test started. And at this point, this is my senior year, so I literally did no work, never learned anything for an entire year. No homework or classwork was done, never even looked at what was happening. Okay, but I still like participate by filling out the tests, right? But I just remember like filling out the first page and being like so high, I thought it would be like obvious if I turned the page. I was like, okay, don't turn the page yet because they're gonna know. You have to wait until someone else does it first. Weed just like heightens your social awareness, and sometimes that's a real spike in your side, I will say. But mostly only because I'm a dumbass. I remember smoking a cart and having it hit me while I was in a grocery store reading something. And that's a crazy feeling, man. Whenever like you're just like in public somewhere with like white lighting, like a gas station or a Walmart, when you're high, it's like whoa, dude, I just feel like a fucking alien in here. And like I just walked into some dream. And honestly, like, isn't it like that? I was working at a gas station like a year or two ago, and I had an edible, and it kicked in like 15 minutes before closing. And I just remember like the hallway just like stretched out so far as I got to the end of it. Love that shit. Oh, last quick story. The first time I ever tried using a gravity bong. If you don't know what that is, that's like you take a cutout of a 2-liter and then a second bottle, like I don't know, a slightly smaller bottle. You fill the bottom one with water, right? And you like, oh Jesus. And then that's the one that stays like that. And then you like have the top piece, you cut the bottom off, or you just make holes. Sorry, this is hard to explain with just my hands. And then you set it down inside of there, okay? So it's resting. And then you cut out a hole in the top of the cap, put in a bowl piece, load the weed, and then you light it. And basically you pull up the bottle, and the suction created by the water tension basically acts as a lung. So as you light it and you pull one of them out from each other, it draws smoke into here. That's a gravity bong, more or less. And then when you're done acquiring all the smoke, you just like unscrew the cap, get your lips up on it all sexy, and then you go down. It all goes right up. So gravity bongs are fun. But my first time using one, I accidentally did the steps wrong, and I loaded the weed into the bowl inside of the top piece before I set it down. So then whenever I press it in and it's going to the bottom, all the air pushes all of the weed out, and I lost that entire bowl outside. Fuck! So hey, just wanted to say, everybody who's smoked with me over these many years, I really appreciate you. We done took risks for each other. We grew. And we're gonna keep fucking smoking, ain't we? So cheers to the weeders out there. I hope you'll get along just fine. Let's smoke!